And GA Scumbags, 6 weeks away. In exactly 6 weeks, we will be in Wallace Wade Stadium
Mm.
as Duke probably loses to Elon. But till then, we're going to keep bringing our roster rundowns. We're going to hit the tight end room, the linebacker room today. But before that, Noah, some pretty groundbreaking Scum news coming up next week.
So, some might say that this is the biggest news to hit the Scums. Scum SPN, the boys will be taking on ACC Media Days,
Mm.
2025, and that'll be our first of what we hope to be many years of this. We're all rather young in our age, so it would kind of be neat if this is something we could keep up for a real long time. But I don't know, just very cool. We submitted our application, put in our credentials, what our pod was about, our accounts, our personal accounts, things like that they had to have. And they sent back an email a day later with approval, and which just it's really cool. Really looking forward to it. It's gonna be awesome to bring you guys scum content from like the ACC media days. Like for if you're in media, this is the peak for football media
It's pretty
groups.
big. Also, how
So
many sexual favors we have to perform to get these credentials, we will never tell,
never
but we're
telling.
looking forward to it.
Yeah, hey, big shout out to the ACC because I know like the Duke market is saturated with people trying to get in from Duke to the ACC media days. So a huge shout out to Jim Phillips and the ACC for allowing little old us to be
Little
there.
ol' us.
Little old Duke. But yeah, it's going to be fun. We're going to try. We don't, it's our first time, so we're going to figure out how things go to try, get interviews with maybe some other fan bases, people in our schedule, pods from other places. Hopefully an interview or two with a player or a coach. Just kind of bring you guys some stuff. But it's going to be it's going to be a good time.
Hand out
Yeah,
some business cards, some koozies.
Yeah,
Yeah, just one last point on that is just a huge thank you to all you guys across Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, Spotify. Um, you know, we pride ourselves on having a very dedicated little group of fans that really love Duke football and just want to hear people talk about it and want to be able to participate and talk about it as well. And without you guys, we wouldn't have anybody to get approved for. So very cool, and we're happy to be able to bring you guys some scum tent, some bar content, vlogs. Like Tyler was saying, we're going to be figuring it out on the fly, but we're really looking forward to it.
yeah. I mean, it wouldn't really be us if it was like planned and coordinated and like
Or even
well thought
legal.
out ahead of time. Like that would not be our way of doing things. But so we're gonna hop into the kind of breaking down the rosters. This is going to be a lot shorter than last week, just in the simple fact that there aren't as many tight ends and linebackers as there are linemen. So we get to do a little more in depth with kind of all the guys in these two rooms. We'll start with the tight ends. Coach Justin Watts is in his second year. I want to give him his flowers real quick because Duke's tight end room last year just got run through with injuries.
Mm.
And like every single time the next guy, they might not have been great, but they stepped up and did what they could, and it was relatively young. Like all we lost was Nicky, Rip, and like going back, we don't have another senior this year except for we'll get on him in a second. But last year we had a bunch of sophomores, freshmen, and they all stepped up when they could. The only guy coming in this year actually is Landon King. He's a 3-star transfer we nabbed from Utah. He's played at Utah and Auburn. You can't really look at his stats. He's played 36 games. He's only got 23 catches, 300 yards, and 5 touchdowns. The dude played football for Auburn and Utah, two places that don't throw the ball very often. He probably got treated like your typical Duke tight end got treated back in the day. Was probably really good and just blocked for fun every play. But if either one of you two guys have thoughts on him, I'm excited to see what it's going to look like now that he has a quarterback in Mensa.
Yeah, I'll go first. I mean, two things that have been kind of foreign concepts to Duke over the years are tight ends with like maybe one or two exceptions and depth. And this is one year where we're going to have a lot of both in that
Yeah,
position. So, I mean, I think our tight end room is going to be stacked this year with lots of depth, which we definitely need. Landon King, like you said, is a guy who I'm really excited um, to come in. I think he's a little bit more. I could be wrong here. Tyler, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like Landon is more of a little bit more of a speed tight end as opposed to like a power tight end.
Yeah.
So that's something I'm really looking forward to seeing. And also, like they talked about a lot when Brewer came in last year, before he disappointed all of us, was that he loved running a dual tight end offense. And last year we lost our tight ends 1 and 2, and that that made way for Jake Taylor to step in, our pride and joy. So we really only could run one tight end last year, and the passing game was pretty flawed. So I think year two Brewer with tight end depth, we're really going to see more tight end play, true to the way that we were promised when he first came in.
Yeah, first things first, before I get on Landon King, Nicky Dalmolin and the Big 2-5, the guy we're losing, the heartbeat and the backbone. Just a guy that loved football, and we're gonna miss Nicky. I know he's got a long lasting career at Turning Point USA coming up, so shout out Nicky. Just absolute good guy. Landon,
We're gonna miss his parents
yeah,
even more.
shout out Mama Dalmo and Papa Dalmo and some of the best people you'll meet. Always down to have a good time at the tailgates. Landon King, as you said, stats don't really jump out like off the books at you. Utah has kind of been in Cam Rising hell for the last 19 years, so he hasn't really had. And during this time there, Utah, that was kind of where any of his numbers did come from, but I'm not necessarily thinking that his production is going to be limited just based off numbers. I think he's a key addition to the room. Whether that's just going to be as like a third down kind of guy, rotational piece, or somebody that you're going to see get like 20-30% of snaps, I don't really know yet. But I definitely think adding that with, history of injury in the room is definitely a solid play for Duke going into this season.
Yeah. And Eli said best, when you look at Duke's tight end room, it's small and they're relatively young, but like you go through the list and there's 4 guys that you could stick out there right now, and I would feel comfortable with being on the field.
Yeah,
Like,
100%. That's a great way of putting it.
and so real quick, we'll hit on some of these guys. Talk more in depth about some of them as we just run through the roster. First, we'll touch on Brett Elliott. Brett is a redshirt freshman. He was a 3-star prospect, top 8 from the state of Massachusetts last year. He didn't see any action. Redshirt year. You only get 4 games anyways. But I'm assuming this year kind of be another developmental year for him, considering like we just said, we're already 4 deep in the tight end room. So I don't expect to see a big year there. This is one I'm really intrigued on. If you do some research, Tony Boggs. Tony is a redshirt sophomore. He came to Duke as a defensive tackle, a 3-star defensive tackle, top 30 prospect in the state of Tennessee. He switched to offensive lineman last spring, and then with all the injuries to the tight end room, halfway through the season got converted to becoming a tight end, who then started 2 games at tight end. Duke still has him listed as tight end. Not sure how he'll fit into things, whether he goes back to offensive lineman or not. He might stay at tight end. I think he's going to be like just no direction really with him.
If he can run block, put him back at O-line. That's all I have to say.
Please God.
Yeah, and really, if you look at it, he's probably the only true blocking tight end we have. Looking at the other guys, so he may stay at tight end. That may not be. He might be a good goal line kind of guy. Next up, we're going to hit on Vance Boyard.
The boy.
VB, baby.
Vance is a 3-star from Greensboro, North Carolina. Played at Northern Guilford. I watched him a few times being with Northwest. Look, I'm going to tell you right now, he's a great football player. He can dunk. He was a hell of a lacrosse player. Like he did it all in high school, but he was actually the number 23rd tight end in his class when he got here. Played in 10 games.
Of the triad. Sorry, I interrupted.
The pride of the 336, man.
The pride of the Piedmont region.
Yeah, Greensboro, stand up.
And Research Triangle, no thank you. Gate City Boulevard, baby.
Oh, God.
The Mecca, and it's just Greensboro.
But Vance last year played in 10 games, saw 90 snaps, so we got a lot of good experience. He missed, I believe it was the UNC game, the Georgia Tech game, and one other game with injuries. And it's a deep tight end room, but the way he plays, he's kind of bigger, athletic. I think he'll find a nice little role carved out for him this year. Eli, I'm gonna let you take the next one. I know you're a big fan of his work.
Yes. Okay. First of all, though, before we get to Jake, I wanted to say just real quick, shout out Vance. Tyler and I had the chance to meet him and spend some time around him during the Durham Super Regional a couple months back. Him, his mom, his sister sat in a few rows in front of us. They were great people. Vance gave us he gave the Scums a tour of the Yo Football Center, which was dream come true. That was elite. So Vance, you're one of the homies for life. Thanks for that. Now, as Tyler mentioned, this is a special one to the Scums. I even had to throw on a jersey for this one. The pride of Apex, North Carolina. You know him, you love him. 6'5", 230 pounds of man, Jake Taylor. Jake was a guy who I don't think any of us, including himself, expected to see much action last year. But then with Nicky Dalmolin going down early, with Jeremiah Hazley going down early, what can you say? Jake really stepped up. Former three-star recruit from Apex, North Carolina, the pride of Cardinal Gibbons School. Um, he was the 30th ranked tight end in his class, 490 career snaps, 19 games played, 6 starts, 12 receptions, 88 yards. Wait, played in every game. Okay, sorry. I was getting his high school mixed up with his college. My bad. But yeah, he became the starting tight end last year after those 2 injuries, and honestly, he really held it down. Really, we were all kind of. I remember we were all kind of worried going into his time as a starter. Like, what can we expect? Like, what's he going to do? And he actually produced a pretty solid amount. And he proved, like you said, Tyler, there's about 4 guys in this tight end room who you could stick out there. We'd all feel pretty comfortable about it, and Jake is certainly one of those guys.
Yeah,
Yeah, 100%. Jake is just the pride. He's that blue collar workforce in that room. Just does things the right way.
First guy in,
First,
last guy out,
yeah, clocking in, staying late, does whatever they lay in front of him.
quicker than fast.
Doesn't ask questions, gets the job done. Cash in the mail.
Has the right attitude. He'll get your daughter home by 9.
100%. No breaking curfews in the Jake Taylor way.
With
And last but not least, friend of the pod,
Daryl.
also his dad. Daryl, you're gonna get your own segment, really. But Jeremiah Hazley, as you guys know, used to be a linebacker back in the day, got converted to tight end, and as many of the Scum faithful followers know, his injury last year caused one of the greatest rants in Scum history, and disbarring and trying to kill the NCAA. And Jeremiah's going to be back this season, fully healthy. Everything looks to be a green light in those regards. Really was looking bright the end of his first season with some playing time the year before last, and then last year, in a small sample size, looked really well, looked more comfortable in the position, and really looking forward to seeing kind of him as the veteran leader in that room with all this, like being a redshirt junior now, having 4 years under his clip. I really feel like he's got it down now, and I'm really excited to see like the production that comes from him, especially if we get into those 2 tight end sets, like 11 personnel that Eli was referring to earlier, and you get 2 down tight ends, and you get guys in there like Jake Taylor who are going to be more of a short route threat, 5 and outs, stick routes, things like that, versus a guy like Hazley, a little bit more of an athletic tight end who can run some deep post, deep outs, things like that, can really open up the playbook a lot.
Yeah.
And like we were saying before we get into any more Hasley, shout out Daryl. You're the GOAT, man. Love
Yeah.
slamming beers with Daryl Hasley.
Friend of the
Friend of the
Scums.
pod.
Like,
Also, real
yeah,
quick before we move, while we're on the note of tight end parents, shout out Stacy Taylor as well. Act big time support of the pod. Likes all of our Instagram posts, like all of our TikToks, our
yeah,
tweets.
yeah. Shout
Uh,
out Stace for real.
very supportive. I had the chance to meet her and her husband, forgive me for getting his name, in downtown Apex of all places the night before the state game. And I think they were pretty blown away because they were like, "Oh, like we're Jake Taylor's parents." And I was like, "Oh, Jake Taylor, he had that super sick catch against SMU." And they were like, "Yeah, like he did." So I
You
know
know
that
who
meant a
our
lot to
kid
them.
is?
They're like, you like Duke football, but you know who our son is too. But yeah, big fans of the Taylor and the Hazleys for sure.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. Like, looking at the tight end room again, like Noah said, Jake's almost more akin to like a wide receiver in the way he plays, like how he's built and stuff. But we use him as a tight end, and then Jeremiah is more of like your old school, like what you picture when you think of tight ends.
Yep.
And so, like, every single one of these guys brings something completely different to the table. Or I think, like, you're going to see a lot of all four this year. But, Jeremiah last year, we were in the preseason. I don't think there was any group of people in this pod that were, like, higher on him going into, like, the season.
I'm
Like,
sitting on so much Haslett. This
we had him
couch is Haslett.
primed for, like, a breakout season. And then he gets hurt against Northwestern. And it just. So hopefully this year he rebounds. Leg injuries are always tough to come back from. And knock on wood that it doesn't happen. But we're in a good spot where if someone was to get injured this year, it's not you don't feel as concerned about it as last year when it happened.
100%. I'm about to say something that's never been said in the history of Duke football. I'm excited about the tight end room this year. I'm gonna say it. I'm excited about this tight end room. Also, Tyler, I think you'll both appreciate this reference. We spoke earlier about how Landon King is a little bit more of a. I mean, he's got the power and the body size, but he's also got the speed. Dare I say, Landon King could be our Vernon Davis?
Oh God!
Whoa!
I would imagine.
Hey, and speaking of all-time tight ends,
speaking of old guys,
Duke's got a couple. Duke's got a few. This week's top 10 list is actually going to be scummed up a little bit, split into two top fives. Top 5 Duke tight ends of all time, and then later we'll be getting into the top 5 Duke linebackers of all time. But when you dive into Duke's tight end room, there's a decent amount of rich history for Duke fans, not necessarily national success and recognition. And it's super spread out. Like it never was happening all together, which
it's like one every decade, basically.
We essentially were getting like one about every like 2 graduation cycles, So I know we've all got some guys in mind, but I guess Eli, you want to go first with your first pick?
Yeah. I think what do you think? We're gonna do go backwards from 5 to 1 or down 1 to 5?
Yeah, for sure.
5 to 1.
Yep. Who would you put at the 5?
Give me
Iguodala.
Yeah, give me Iguodala.
Fate of the universe in his hands. Give me Jake fucking Taylor.
Yeah, Jake fucking Taylor. But he has 8 receptions. Give me Jake fucking Taylor.
The list is just this year's tight end room.
Hey, after this year, it could be.
Nobody believes in him more.
Yeah. You won't find more hope in these guys than you will on this podcast. All right. Give me, from 5 to 1, Cooper Helfet.
The greatest 2-year stretch ever.
Yeah, man. 4 years of Helfet would have been crazy.
Daniel Helm.
Ooh.
Braxton Deaver.
Okay.
Goat.
Mike Hart.
Little bag pull there for the folks that don't remember. It was kind of at the beginning of our livelihoods, but dude put up some solid numbers in like a 3-year campaign, 1370 and 6 tutties.
Yeah, that's actually unheard of for a Duke tight end.
Tight end.
And think about the time.
In the worst years ever.
And that was like the late 90s, early 2000s. No one was throwing the ball back then either.
Quite literally absurd. The worst of Duke football. That's quite literally. They were winless in 2000 and 2001.
He was throwing it to himself.
Yeah, well, when you're down 55-0 in the first quarter, you're just slinging that bitch all game.
Every reception he had was just tipped in the air, and he somehow caught it. It was tipped in the air. It was intended for a receiver, tipped in the air, and he came down with it. That's the only reason he had receptions. Last but not least, number 1 Duke tight end of all time, undisputed, Noah Gray.
Yeah.
What else can you say?
Greatest blocker of all time.
Greatest blocker of all time. That's the thing. Tyler, explain for the casuals who may be tuning in why Noah Gray is the greatest, yet doesn't have the best receiving stats of any Duke tight end.
Well, if you direct yourself to my name, that guy had a lot to do with it. You would think that a guy that's primed to be the next Travis Kelce, essentially, and had Daniel Jones throwing the football to him, would have put up gaudy numbers. But no, we just decided, and it's not like his numbers were bad, right? He had 100 catches, almost had 1,000 yards, and 8 touchdowns. But it's the fact that he could have had triple that had we actually put the time and effort into getting him the ball more than we did. And just when you look in the grand scheme of things, like his potential at Duke, what he's done now, he has to be the best. Even though, like you said, the numbers might not match some of these other guys that we went through right there. Noah, is there anyone you want to add, or I like that list?
I've got a couple. I got a couple different ones on that list. At my 5 hole, I've got legend Bill Kayat, 92, 95. Had over 1,000 yards. That's pretty much unheard of in Duke at any position. 7 touchdowns. And then I got our guy, and shout out, this guy was one of the most underrated Duke players of all time, and was a huge reason we beat Carolina a lot. Davis Koppenhaver.
That little jump pass.
Cancer survivor, tight end legend, man. Shout out Davis. Absolute dog. Those are 2 guys I would definitely put in those conversations as well. Davis had 12 touchdown receptions and only had 1 real season, and that's rather impressive.
Let's not forget
automatic.
He had that sick ass trick play TD from Daniel Jones. What was it?
Yeah.
I can see the uniforms and everything in my head, but I forget who was involved. It was Jones to Ramming.
Yeah. Ramming to
Copenhagen. Right in front of Garrett and his dad, sitting down at the very bottom of section 21. You can see the video. There's Garrett and his dad freaking out in a capacity crowd of 8,000 people.
Sold out. But Noah, it's crazy to think about. When you look at his stats, he only had 49 catches and had 12 touchdowns. Essentially, he averaged a touchdown every 4 catches.
That's nuts.
That's absurd.
And man, had he been healthy, and thank God he, survived that cancer, and was even, healthy enough to play football is insane. And to come back and just kind of dominate for a year was insane. And as Eli mentioned him earlier, Super Bowl champion Cooper Helfet. Let's go, shout out Coop.
And the only downside to Davis was his brother had to go play at Carolina.
Yeah, and was good too.
Yeah, and was pretty damn good himself. Wish we could have had him. We wouldn't have used him, but it would have been nice to have him, block for a run play or something every once in a while. Could have set the edge for Daniel Jones or something like that once or twice, I'm sure.
The block so hard.
Late stage Cutcliffe, man, nothing like it.
Late stage Cutcliffe.
The only guy I want to throw in, and this is just an honorable mention because I just wild to think about what could have been. Benjamin Watson, that one, the first round draft pick that played tight end for 20 years in the NFL, started his career at Duke, fun fact, and then he went to Georgia and became good.
That's how it goes.
That's how it goes.
It's wild to think about. Eli said it earlier when we were talking, and Dwayne brought it up the other day. The amount of NFL talent that's come through Duke that people don't even realize, or just doesn't get used the right way. And
even
you go back
just
in
the late 2010s, early 2020s, they were awful. Everybody on the defense at the time, basically.
Mm-hmm. It's just wild to think about. And next, we're gonna get to the fun part, the big nasties on defense, the linebackers. They're coached by defensive coordinator Jonathan Patke.
Well, time out. Should we do mailbag in the middle before we get to linebackers?
Oh yeah. I think there was a linebacker question in there, so
I've got it pulled up if y'all want me to run it.
Yeah, that'll work.
All right. At Not Ted Roof asks, what is y'all's predicted stat line for the Pride of Apex? Hard to tell. I just responded with 69 catches for 420 yards.
Nice.
That's Jay Taylor.
Crimroy asks, between Nick and Trey Freeman, who's having the better year and how many games before they're both hurt?
Trey Freeman's getting his face back this year. No more fourth quarter Trey.
He's coming off the milk
third, fourth quarter. Yeah, 100%.
He's going to be there for the first 58 minutes.
Yeah, no disrespect to CET or CTE Nick Morris, the goat of just killing people. But we're going to touch on it later. I think Trey's back. He's going to rebound pretty nicely from last year.
He's so not going to now.
Yeah, like we just gave him the kiss of death, but So shout out Nick Morris for your legacy run this year. Congratulations.
Yeah, Heisman Nick Morris loading. I think it's funny that and this discussion takes me back to the pod that we did, like the spring ball recap, where Noah just went on this iconic rant about like, boys, like we've got to get some more depth in the transfer portal. We can't have our 2s and 3s being Luke Margot and Memorable Factor. Boys, we love you. We appreciate that you're on the team, but God forbid our starters go down.
If I gotta see the 34 number run out there and hear them say, and Luke Margot makes a tackle or something,
Hey,
that's Kevin O'Connor bad.
hey, okay. I'm not. According to some of the sources, and I mean sources, guys on the team, Luke and Kevin have been in the hashtag lab, along with
Hashtag
Todd
lab.
Polino. So I'd be curious. I'm not saying like I'm dying to see what Luke Margot can do, but I'm saying I'm
Nobody is.
curious. I'm curious to see what he can do being rotated in and out.
I hope he's getting rotated on kick return because that's about all I'd like to see.
This is going off the rails. This is like prime old school scum, like just before the parents were watching, where we just kind of said whatever.
We love Duke football.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we also like your kids as well.
Yeah, they're great.
We are first and foremost fans and only fans. So
yeah.
we're gonna do us.
We pay money and we die for this shit. That gives us the right to say these types of things.
Exactly.
Bentley Weeks, who is bigger than me, asks, how often do y'all think / hope the tight ends get involved in the passing game this year? I definitely think Mensa and the tight ends could develop a special connection if used properly. Yeah, I mean, again, this is a very important year for Duke football as a whole, but especially Jonathan Brewer because he's on the hot seat. He knows he's on the hot seat. We know he's on the hot seat. And like you were saying, Noah, in the transfer portal pod we did back in like January, uh, Jonathan Brewer, if you fucking suck next year with the quarterback that you guys said that you needed, I'm ending it. And it's right. He has no excuse. This is his second year now. He knows the roster. He's got Mensa. He has no excuses.
No, I mean,
So
like, and just to touch on that again, do you not understand how catered somebody has to be to have the guy that just went and threw the most touchdowns in your school and program's history in a single season and say, I just can't get it done with him?
yeah. So
Yeah,
he really
okay.
has no
There's a
excuses.
lot on the chopping block for you, Jonathan, because like I'm not gonna be the guy that sits there and tweets about Malik Murphy all year, because I certainly wasn't that guy with other players and transfers. But I can see a raw deal when I see one, and I'm all for the Mensa train. But God forbid this turns to just be another 9-3 season on the back of a Manny Diaz's defense. I'm losing it. I'm losing it. I won't be contained. I will be outside of Durham picketing.
Yeah, he'll be on Chapel Drive with he'll be doing a sit-in at like the Broadhead Center. Like Noah's just gonna be like laying on the floor of the Broadhead Center butt naked, like demanding Jonathan Brewer be let go.
Just shitting myself
Chaining himself to the doors of the Bryan Center.
like I'm in a
Look,
City
it's like
Trends
I
working
said
a
during the walk
20-hour
last year. I
shift.
I just want to talk to him. That's all.
Let me at him. Where's Brewer?
I just want to talk to him. That's all. It
Run
just
up the
like
gut,
5
baby. Run up the gut, baby.
seconds. Yeah.
Pull me back. Where's Brewer? That SMU Blue Devil walk. All of that whole day was so
That's
special.
gonna
Oh,
like live in like that's gonna live in
infamy,
scum. Like
man.
yeah, like that's gonna forever be like a moment.
The
I feel like
annals of scum lore.
that day's vibes were the reason that game stings for me so much more than Notre Dame.
Yeah, they
Because I know if we won that game, it would have felt unreal. Like
Tuscaloosa's finest. Ugh!
Welcome
every
to hell. The
Durham,
the
North
third down
Carolina.
shoe. The third down shoe, the elite tailgate with our buddy Chris.
Oh my God, that was the third down shoe.
All
Dude,
of
we
it.
need on the scum shirts. We need to put "Welcome to Hell, Durham, North Carolina" with a little location drop thing.
Just feels right. Jamie Holt, our buddy from Section 17, says, if all are fully healthy, when's the last time Duke has had a tight end group look this good on paper? I think it has a chance to be a strong point for Duke this year. And that ties into what we said earlier. I don't think I've ever been this excited or hopeful for Duke's tight end room, ever. Like, I mean, obviously, like, Noah Gray was one guy. Braxton Deaver was one guy. But, like, for the room as a whole, has the Duke tight end room ever been this exciting?
No, not that I necessarily could think of. Like you can revert back to like the Braxton Deaver, like Eric Schneider kind of ish years, pre Noah Gray. But even at that, you were more so just like hoping they were healthy.
Yeah.
So this is
Yeah,
definitely talent wise as good as
I
it gets.
think I think there might have been one year where Davis and Noah Gray may have overlapped. So like, and even then, it was just those two.
Where were you for Jake Marweed?
Special team legend.
Going bag for bag.
Yeah, I think it's undoubtedly the deepest like tight end room Duke's ever seen.
It's probably the deepest anything Duke has ever seen. Like you said, when have we ever had four guys at one position that we're like, you could stick him at start and be like, all right, yeah, that's fine. Ever.
Yeah, not
The-
often.
It's really weird to think about like Duke and like the spots that we're really excited about being the spots that used to burn us for so many years. Tight ends, offensive line, and secondary. Like,
And quarterback,
used-
dare I say.
yeah. Well, we've been quarterback you before. Just
We've been
Chase
quarterback
Bryce,
you before, just
In our
not
own
all the
minds,
time.
yeah.
Gunnar Holmberg, Chase Bryce.
Hot
Thanks for
streak.
nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, never forget. I'm just gonna say it. We had a friend recently who made kind of a silly comment that said something about like we were debating greatest Duke quarterbacks of all time, and we all had Thad Lewis like top two, top three, and somebody was saying, well, that doesn't really count if they never won anything. So then we were like, well, then by that logic, is Grayson Loftus better than Thad Lewis because Grayson Loftus won the Birmingham Bowl? Explain
Yeah.
that one.
People are saying it.
People are saying it.
People
Dude,
are saying it.
I was thinking about this earlier. Grayson's gonna get to go back to Birmingham for a bowl game this year. Dude, that's the same. The American, that's who gets to go, right?
Against Duke. Again,
Revenge game.
he tortures us 47-3.
We lose to Charlotte
He's gonna
again.
go 11 for 17 with one touchdown and two picks. But that's gonna be
Ugh.
enough to beat little old Duke.
The hashtag Riley Leonard way.
Mensa doesn't play that game because Manny's announced
Because he's
going to
already at
FSU.
at Tennessee. Go
Yeah,
Vols.
Mensa's already on the phone with Heupel by then.
Oh god.
Oh god.
All of our tight ends are hurt. All four of them.
None of them made it past non-conference.
God damn it. All right, focus. Our buddy Timothy Gonzalez asks.
Oh, Gonzalez.
Yeah,
Yeah.
O Gonzalez. Our Irish friend Timothy O Gonzalez asks questions for the Scums. How much fun to see that we landed two huge recruiters away from Georgia Bulldogs for. We love
This
you,
is
Tim.
off the rails.
We love you, Tim. This is great. Questions for the Scums. How much fun to see that we landed two huge recruiters away from the Georgia Bulldogs for next year, 2026 class. P.S. Favorite linebacker is Cash. You know what I mean?
Guys, if you don't follow
Yada yada mean.
what is his name? If you don't follow at Timothy 0873 1120 on Twitter, please, like, he is as diehard, the best of the best Duke fans in the world.
He's the greatest.
You ever say something mean to him, we'll fucking kill you too.
Yeah.
Don't you ever.
We can do it because we're his brothers, and brothers can tease each other, but nobody else can.
Yeah, BSBL.
You know what I mean?
You know
Yeah,
what I
yada
mean?
yada mean.
Tim, it's cool to see. It's
Two
cool to see that
recruiters.
we got people from Georgia. We beat out Georgia for some kids. Yeah, 2026 is shaping up to be just as good, if not better, than the 25 class. Till Manny
Oh,
leaves for FSU and they all go with him.
yeah.
But for now, it's looking good.
Yeah, Tyler Cherry Walker. He's gonna decommit and he's gonna go to what was it, Washington? I can already feel it.
Oh God,
Oh
Paul
God,
Minky.
God, what a time that
I
was.
think Paul
That
Minky's working at
Hey,
McDonald's now
you
doing
commit to the
heroin. So
school, not the coach.
yeah,
I mean, has there? I mean, when's the last time Duke football felt as shitty as December 23? Like October of 23?
yeah, yeah. A week prior.
Yeah. All right.
Shout out to
Blade.
him, man.
Yeah, Blade for Duke asks, comment on the linebackers. Can you imagine Jeremy Cash playing the star position? I think he meant the Viper position. Can you imagine Jeremy Cash playing the star position in Manny's defense? Can you imagine
Oh,
Jeremy Cash doing anything in Manny's defense?
Jeremy
Anything.
Cash would have been like the would have had Cam Bergeron spot last year essentially, and it would have just been insane.
Can I do a bag pull really quick? Y'all remember at Wallace Wade when Jeremy Cash was like, they were finally leaning into having a star player for the first time and capitalizing on it. And in the end zone by the scoreboard, they had the cash machine,
Hmm.
Yeah,
the big case that was clear, and like somebody was standing inside of it and the money would swirl around.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, when's the last time Duke did anything that cool on the field?
Dude, his like
we beat Elon
celebrations
last
used to
year.
be so hard too. My favorite of all time was when we were playing Georgia Tech and just we were bending Paul Johnson over. David Long Dick Cutcliffe was just giving it out, dude. And Jeremy Cash forced like 19 fumbles that day. It was the best defensive performance I'd ever watched in my life of any like player, regardless. Like no bias to Duke at all, because like if anybody could separate their Duke bias, it's us. And like oh boy, that was just special. But he did this thing where he like took out this running back's like knees. Running back like lands on his neck, fumbles the ball. He gets up and starts doing some shit like this and like high stepping around.
He
And like
starts doing the Q dog shit.
dude, yeah, but like he wasn't in that frat, you know what I mean? Which makes it hard because he's
Jeremy's a
like,
bad man. He can get away
yeah,
with it.
he's on that Drewski shit, doing it when you ain't involved. And
Doing it when you ain't involved.
and oh man, just little old 14-year-old me didn't know what was going on, man. I was just
God.
out there losing my mind.
Dude, was there ever, oh my God, take me back to 2013, 14, 15 Duke, man.
It was the peak time to be a teenager and college football
Oh,
fan if you were a Duke fan.
ugh.
These kids nowadays don't know the pain we went through to get to those good times.
Well, like I said, dude, like, you know what? This is a pretty casual pod. We're just fucking around at this point. Like I said a few days ago on Twitter, like, Duke finally gets really good in 2013, wins the program best 10 games. Duke, for whatever reason, anytime we catch like a big time opponent, like a big time opponent, we always catch them at like the peak. We caught A&M that year with Johnny Manziel at the hype of Manziel mania. Almost beat him, lost it in true Duke fashion. And then we also caught FSU the year they win a natty in the ACC title game. The one time we ever make the ACC title game, we just catch the national title winner of that season.
That's
Who
so
else but
Duke.
Duke?
Yeah, that's just so Duke.
But yeah, like we've just God, who's got it worse than us? Like
And
even when
even
we have it, even when we have it good, who's got it worse than us?
literally, Jonathan Dumbass Brewer just says Jake Taylor. Diego Wally Wade asks, "Is Bradley Gompers?" I'm not answering that. Who gives a shit? Uh, he's just asking about a jersey number, but he's also asking where we see him fitting in the linebacker room. We'll get to that. Uh, and that's about it. Connor Marecki asks, "What's your starting salary?" I think he wants to intern for us. Sorry, man. We only take female interns. Next.
And well, we did have Krim, but you know,
Uh,
Yeah, Krim
yes,
said he
rest in
doesn't know
peace.
how to edit and can't make edits for us anymore, and then
He's
he's
at the
always
big
posting
editing
edits.
convention in the sky.
He's at the Great Edit Convention in the Sky. Is that what you said?
Yeah,
the big edit farm up north.
Oh my God.
he's gone to Vandy. That Diego Pavia edit's going to hit like crack when it drops.
God.
But speaking of linebackers, you
Yes.
know, second half of the pod here, reeling it back in. Duke's got a decent linebacker room. Tyler kind of already touched. Defensive coordinator is the coach of the room. Jonathan Packey. We are lovers of Big JP, so shout out Packey. Keep doing your thing. Some key departures. Duke lost their top 3 tacklers from last year. That sounds a lot worse than it is, though.
That's so Duke.
Alex Howard, Ozzie Nicholas, Cam Bergeron. You look at those guys, the only reason they were leading tacklers, and like they were studs, but the only reason they were was due to injuries in front of them. So it's not that alarming to see that up there. Not really some like if that was any other year and those guys were like the 3 guys coming into the year, that would be an issue, but not this year. A couple of key additions. Jaden Francois, one to be excited about. Not a lot of people are talking about. Utah State and former UCF Golden Knight, also the national champions of 2000, I believe. What was it? 18,
So it was
2019,
17 or 18 the year they won the
17.
Natty.
Shout out Scott Frost. He's back home this year. My bag is so deep, but Francois, 4-star player. He didn't necessarily pan out too well at UCF. Did really well at Utah State. He was top 30 nationally as a recruit. Had 110 tackles, 7 tackles for a loss, 2 sacks, 2 picks, 4 pass breakups, and had a pretty good 2 games. 2 seasons at Utah State. So really looking forward to him.
Yeah, speaking of Utah State, former Cutcliffe arch nemesis Bronco Mendenhall got out there. So if the dude was playing football at a place where Bronco Mendenhall wanted to go coach, he's going to be pretty good. Those of you that don't know who Bronco Mendenhall was, is that dude used to beat the shit out of Duke every year, like religiously.
So
And
true.
he loved defense, so getting the guy from out there is going to be fun. He's going to step in and fill a big hole. Ozzie balled out last year when he got called on.
I miss him, and it's just Ozzie Nicholas.
Yeah, where were you for Princeton legend Ozzie Nicholas's Duke run? Cam Bergeron and Alex Howard, some reasonably solid numbers last year, but Francois can step in and really help bridge that leadership gap that they kind of leave behind. And the recruiting class, again, we don't have many coming in. Elliot Shaper's a freshman coming in this year. He's a 3-star from Texas. Max Prep's first-team All-American last season. In his high school career, he amassed 300 tackles, 25 tackles for loss, over 15 sacks. In Texas high school football, it's pretty damn good.
Yeah, I'm excited about him for sure.
Yeah, they do things different down there.
He's kind of like I feel like we use this term a lot, and I don't want to be those guys, but like we say, underrated, not talked about enough guys. That's a guy maybe not this year, barring some crazy injuries, or maybe he's just that damn good that like you give him 2 years in a Feely system, that's all American, like just a mean, true middle linebacker that's just going to play the game well. And just so exciting to see Duke getting recruits like that. Because, we were having linebackers out there that were like 5'10, 5'11, 225 pounds soaking wet. Like, it was a joke. And so, really good to just see how things are changing in that landscape.
We'll get him nice and built up for when he transfers to Florida.
Yeah, exactly. Austin's calling him already. Next, we've got Will Felder Jr., another freshman, 3-star from Pennsylvania, top 25 recruit in the state of Pennsylvania, over 100 tackles in his junior and senior seasons on varsity. We've got Asher Wasserman, a freshman, 3-star from Connecticut, number 7 recruit in the state of Connecticut, number 30th ranked linebacker nationally. Over 300 tackles. Yeah, over 300 tackles in 3 years, 20 sacks. And last but not least, any other year, this guy would have made so many headlines for Duke, and he's still getting talked about a lot. But Bryce Davis showed up. Bradley Gompers is coming in. He's coming in from Pennsylvania. He's the 6th highest rated recruit Duke's ever had. That's a pretty big deal, and it just gets overshadowed because Bryce Davis. He's a 4-star from Pennsylvania. He's ranked 286 in the ESPN Top 300. He was the number 3 prospect from the state of Pennsylvania. He actually was a tight end / linebacker. So 247 has him as the number 3rd ranked athlete prospect. He's a top 26 linebacker. In 2 seasons, he had 185 tackles. Missed his junior year to a broken collarbone. He is going to make an immediate impact on this defense in some capacity. He gets to sit behind guys like Trey and Nick for a year and kind of play off of them some. You learn from Francois some. But as a freshman, he's going to be around a lot, and you're going to hear that name called multiple times. He's probably going to play more on the outside, kind of like outside edge hybrid on the edge kind of guy. Get to the pass rusher a little bit. It's a really good get for Duke.
He reminds me of Ryan Kerrigan.
Oh my God!
From the old Washington Redskins.
What? Wow! I haven't heard that name in so long.
Dude, he was a beast.
What a bag pull.
We've dropped Vernon Davis and Ryan Kerrigan on this pod.
Wasn't Kerrigan like 05, like early 2000s, mid 2000s?
I think he was like drafted in like 09-ish and then played to like 16, I think, maybe 15-ish.
Yeah, he was a dog back
he was
then.
A tank. Him and Arakpo were fucking giving dudes hell.
Brian Arakpo.
God, my bag is so deep. Texas legend Brian Arakpo, hook him.
God.
All right. Well, so now that we've covered new folks, we'll get into some of the returnees, starting with Kendall Johnson, who's a redshirt sophomore, former 3-star out of Maryland, top 15 in-state and number 30 ranked linebacker. 16 career games, had snaps in all 12 games regular season last year. 19 total tackles, 1 sack, 260 career snaps played. 199 and 13 tackles last year. Potential breakout candidate on defense to see an increased amount of playing time. I think we'll definitely see more of him, especially if and when one of our starters goes down. Let's not forget Derek Brown, boyfriend of Luca Galasso of the Duke football social media team.
Shout out Zach Smith. Speaking of Duke football,
speaking of Duke football social media, Zach Smith, our goat. Yeah,
Derek Brown. Your DMs.
Check your DMs.
Check your DMs, Zach.
Derek Brown, we see you, boy. Redshirt freshman, former 3-star, number 10 prospect from the state of Connecticut. Saw 6 snaps versus Elon last year. Not much else. Lots of upside, and again, we can expect an increase in productivity and role if and when one of our starters goes down. Tyler, you can take it from here with Dawson.
Yeah, next up, Dawson Andrew. He's a senior, been here all 4 years. Came out of Georgia. He saw action in 10 career games. 9 of them actually came last year, where he had 4 tackles. He's going to be a really good veteran piece for the team. Again, it's the same thing. Like, you look around this roster, you don't see a lot of like older guys, which is really weird because it feels like we lost a lot last year. Like everywhere, it's just young when you look at like the big names and the key spots. So Dawson will be a guy. He's been around long enough. He'll be a nice veteran piece for that locker room. He'll be able to kind of guide some of the young guys around how you do things around here. And I think a lot of these guys, I think Manny and Pat Gear is going to continue that chaos defense where we just throw bodies at people left and right. So I think there's a good chance a lot of these guys see an uptick in playing time. Speaking of, I already mentioned on the pod earlier, shout out Luke Margot.
Noah's arch nemesis.
Dude, I'm not a Luke Margot hater. I just don't want to see him on the field.
Him and Kevin O'Connor are like Noah's 2 least favorite people for like no real reasons. I think Noah just kind of picks on him a little bit.
It's just they're so Duke, they don't even get it, man. Like they don't know how many. I've seen so many Kevin O'Connors and Luke Margots, man.
AJ Wolf.
Shout out AJ Wolf.
Grinder.
Yeah, CFO of Grinder. Duke football defensive tackle. He was just absolutely getting nasty. He was Michael Salmon them boys up in there. He was getting wicked.
God. Shout out AJ Wolf.
And he has a wife. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah. It's the man of the people, really.
Dude, having a wife and creating Grinder, power play.
Hey, he's about his bag. I respect it.
Talk about capitalizing.
But Luke's a former 3-star prospect from Maryland. He was the number 15 prospect in the state. He was a top 50 ranked linebacker. He's playing 18 games in his career, 305 snaps all time, 17 tackles. Last year he saw action in all 13. Got on the field for 258 snaps last year, had 14 tackles. His role is more going to be felt on the special team side of things. I feel like, again, he'll see action on the field for sure this year in some capacity defensively,
Yes.
but he's a big special teams guy going into the season.
Speaking of special teams guys, memorable factor. What can you say except he's got a great credit score and a YouTube play button in his locker, and he's got 100,000 subs on his YouTube channel. Next, we'll get into Nick Morris Jr.
And he's from England.
He's from England.
His
and
parents do listen to the pod, because if you look at our Spotify thing, we have 3 listeners from England like every episode. Shout out to the Factor family.
Dude, his sister, that was still one of the funniest questions I've ever been asked. And I've been around, 25 years in this biz of Duke football, and, can remember 20 of them. And the
not
funniest,
the last 5 because I've been blacked out. But.
Yeah, actually, it's actually just the first 20. But no, she goes at the bowl game. She goes, "So who are you guys here for?"
It was me and Noah. Yeah, we drove to Birmingham,
and we're like, Duke. And she said, "Well, yeah, of course, but who on the team are you here for?" We're like, everyone. We're not related to anybody. We're here for everybody. And she goes, "Oh, that's interesting. I've never heard anybody doing that." And we're like, that's so Duke.
We're bringing the sicko culture. No, dude, the Birmingham Bowl in 2023, keep in mind, I hadn't met Noah in person yet, and I'd been talking to him on Twitter for about a month. I took a train from Raleigh to Charlotte. We meet up in Charlotte. You get in the back of this chick's Jeep and drive to Birmingham. 3 strangers, basically, all for the Birmingham Bowl. If that's not scum, I don't know what is. Also,
all to watch Trooper Taylor and Grayson Loftus.
Somebody put your hat on backwards.
God, I don't.
Get a do-rag and a backwards hat in this bitch. We talking Trooper Taylor memories.
If that's not scum, I don't know what is.
Fuck, man.
All right, but speaking of scum, Nick Morris Jr., what can you say? OG friend of the pod. Really like the first player that we really talked to and befriended. He's a redshirt senior. We were really, really, really looking forward to seeing him, assume the role of linebacker 1 last year alongside Trey Freeman. Unfortunately, he went down week 1, didn't play at all last year. Former 3-star from Texas, number 33 linebacker in his class. 20 career games. He's played 600-plus snaps, recorded 75 tackles, 3 tackles for loss and 1 sack. Again, he missed the entirety of last year except for Elon, unfortunately. But we're really expecting him to shine. I mean, he's had many years now under the Feely effect. And he's had a lot of years to train and get better. So I'm really, really excited to see Nick step up and shine this year against Trey Freeman. That is until he goes down tragically against Illinois and misses the rest of the season.
Nick Morris is as from the sewer as it gets. He is what you envision when you think of a linebacker.
Yes.
He just wants to hit people. He enjoys hitting people.
He belongs in the movie The Program. If you know, you know.
And you touched on him getting hurt last year was. I don't want to say it wasn't a big blow, because obviously it hurt, but it's one of those crazy things you think about. If Nick Morris doesn't go down, Ozzie Nicholas doesn't have the year he had, and if Ozzie doesn't have the year he had, it's what happens?
Also, Alex Howard.
Yeah, it's just wild, butterfly effect kind of thing there. But shout out Nick, like you said, big friend of the pod. Again, one of those things, leg injuries suck. So we're really hoping, kind of like with Jeremiah, that he can bounce back. We expect him to, like you said, him and Trey side by side. It's going to be a really good 1-2. Probably the best 1-2 we've had since Ben and Joe Giles Harris. Don't want to compare those two, because that was just an insane 1-2 to have. But kind of with how they play off each other and stuff, I feel like that's a comparable pairing. And speaking of Trey,
let Noah take this one.
Yeah. Mr. Fourth Quarter himself.
The 2-minute man.
Sorry, boys. My dog was just slurping up the water there the last 2 minutes. I didn't want everybody to have to hear that. But yeah, absolutely coming off the milk carton. Our man, our dog, Big Trey Freeman, big number 12. Trey, I'm begging you, don't make me come back to these clips. Please, please let this just be true. No more milk carton. I mean, I appreciate all the game winners. Don't get me wrong, but I'd love to just prevent needing those. Let's button it up a little bit early. I think Trey's going to do a lot more in the pass coverage game this year. I think he's going to step up guarding tight ends. I think that's going to be when you look at our schedule. We're playing a lot of TEUs. Illinois is just gonna try to dick fuck us with tight ends. Um, Clemson is going to just bring so many out there at us because Dabo's going to read every scripture in the Bible before that game to get
That
them
one's going
boys
to be
amped
bad.
up. You thought David and Goliath's speeches were crazy. He's digging deep in Ecclesiastes for this shit. I mean, just unreal.
He's making up his own books of the Bible for this one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dabo Ephesians.
the
And,
the Bible 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Oh man, but yeah, I'm a huge Trey Freeman believer. He's a great in the run game. Does a good job getting up there. He fills gaps well when guards start to pull or you see a trap coming around. Trey's the first guy to run up in there and take the contact head on. Making sure those plays can be, gang tackled the way Manny Diaz's defense is supposed to work. We understand that due to the schematics of this defense, Trey's numbers might not always be off the chain, but that doesn't necessarily mean the performance isn't going like well. So you got to look a little deeper, but I think we're expecting a little more this year, and I think we're definitely going to get it.
Yeah, I'm like you. I want to say it was like maybe it was the UConn game last year. It was early in the season. Or I remember I looked at you two and I was like, have they said Trey's name all year? Like we were just like we haven't heard him say Trey's name the entire like first 2 or 3 weeks of the season. Um, but hey, he did get that game winning pick against Carolina. So hey, tip of the hat there, Trey. And I think part of the thing, like when you go back, his 2023 was just so damn good
Mm-hmm.
that like it almost put him at an unfair spot to where like if he didn't do that again, it was just going to be like you remember like dude going into like preseason last year, people were talking about him as like a fourth round, fifth round draft pick,
Yeah.
and like he just for whatever reason it just didn't pan out necessarily. That's not to say he had like a shit year, like he still had 70 tackles.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think this year he'll more return to like 2023 Trey Freeman. And if that happens, watch out. Like that is going to be scary and fun to watch. And to wrap things, well, Eli, you got anything you want to add in on Trey before we get to the top five again?
No, I mean that 2023 season was an electric breakout year for Trey. We all loved it. And then we had a lot of faith going into last season. He didn't even have a like you said, didn't have a bad year last year at all. And when we make the milk cart jokes, we're just kidding, of course. But definitely a little bit of a dip in production. But we have a running joke about how Trey would like show up like when it mattered the most, sealing the game against Carolina. He had like a late pick against Virginia Tech, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I fully believe that getting readjusted and maybe had something to do with Patkey's system. I don't know, but I fully believe that he'll be back this year.
Yeah, and like Trey also against SMU, like popped the fuck off. So
Yeah.
like Eli was saying, the jokes we make are not digs at anybody. We just are funny college football fans that have been hurt for a real long time, and don't
Unless
take.
it's about Jonathan Brewer. I mean those.
Yeah, that part's serious. But as you can tell by like the names on the screen, some of the jokes we make, all lighthearted, good fun. Um, really looking forward to the linebacker group though, for sure.
Yeah, to wrap up the top 10 here, we're gonna finish up with like some of the top five linebackers we think in Duke's history. This one's a little more tricky to kind of dive into because tackles weren't actually recorded as an official stat until 2001.
That's when
So
football
there's
football didn't matter before that.
yeah, it didn't matter to Duke then either. But so there's going to be a lot of recency bias here, just due to that fact. But I think the number one guy, because he only was here for 3 years, and those 3 years were just absolutely nuts. Considering who he played with and Ben Humphreys, is Joe Giles Harris.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it gets appreciated enough what he did or just how good he was, because he played with Ben Humphreys and Daniel Jones was there, and those teams were just good anyways. But in 3 years he had 300 tackles.
Yep.
He had basically 10 sacks, 2 interceptions, 8 passes broken up. I mean, the dude was just as insane as it got. So I think he's the number one. And God, imagine if we could have just gotten his senior year out of him.
Yeah, my number 2 would be David Helton, Cutcliffe, early day legend. 348 total tackles over his 3 years, 127 solo, 4 sacks, 2 pass breakups. He was like a neck pad linebacker, glue guy. I was a real big Helton guy. I think he was pretty underrated in Duke terms. Was a pretty big glue guy with all the injuries like the Kelby Brown and stuff back then. So shout out Helton. He was a beast on NCAA too.
Yeah, I'll let you take number 3, Eli.
Actually, can I say something without everybody getting mad at me?
Uh-oh.
Give me Michael Tawalili. Holy shit.
Dude, he's a dog.
That's fair. Yeah,
Nobody's going to get mad at you there. It had to be
Holy
him or Benny
shit.
Ray.
Dude, I was not familiar with Michael Tawalili's game. First
Yeah.
off,
Yeah.
he was there 06, 7, and 8. 2 of those 3 were some of the worst years in Duke football history. We were quite literally winless in 2006. Nevertheless, he persisted. 145 solo tackles, 342 total tackles, 5 sacks, 7 interceptions, which I believe is the most out of any of these guys on this list that we have. The most interceptions by a Duke linebacker, ever, right? Has to be.
Yeah.
And
probably most by several defensive backs.
Yeah, and let's not forget, he got arrested for an alcohol and weapons charges. If that's not the only cool Duke football player ever, it seems.
God.
He's spent time with the Colts. I mean, God.
He's a beast, man.
He's so Georgia.
And you gotta think, dude, him and Vinny Ray were playing together, bro. Fuck.
And we didn't win a game.
We didn't win a football game. Them boys were going to war for Duke, man. Shout out Vinny Ray and Michael Tawalili, man, because y'all didn't have to do that. Nobody.
Thad Lewis played with those guys, and we didn't win a fucking game.
Well, outside of those guys, we didn't have nothing.
No, but those 3 couldn't find us one win.
Was David Helton number 84?
Todd Helton?
David Helton.
Sorry, not David Helton.
I don't know, because there's this great shot of Tawalili and this guy number 84 tracking down this guy in a game.
Helton was 47.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, Helton was later.
Yeah, he came in 11.
Oh, I'm an idiot.
I do want to throw in, before we get to the last 2 guys, honorable mention here. First off, I should be able to do this and everybody know immediately who I'm talking about.
Yup.
But honorable mention to Kelby Brown. What could have been, probably the best Duke what if in terms of injuries. He was here for 5 years and just could never stay healthy. He still had over 200 tackles, 4 sacks, 2 interceptions, 5 PBUs. It's tough to put him on the list of the top 5 just because he couldn't get on the field. But God, when he was on the field, he was such an animal.
Dude, he'd have 4 knee braces on, 3 ankle braces, both his elbows would be clubbed up. I was like, holy shit, dude, how are you still alive?
It was just insane what could have been there. One guy I want to bring up, and I mentioned this to the guys earlier. I didn't realize that Shaka Hayward put up the numbers he did when he was here. Hey, credit, he put up those numbers because the defense was on the field every play. But Shaka Hayward in his 4 years had 339 tackles, 11 and a half sacks, 4 interceptions, 1 touchdown, 7 passes broken up. I knew he was good, but until I looked at the numbers, I didn't realize just how good of numbers he was putting up over those years. Um, so I'm gonna put him at the 4th spot. Like shout out Shaka Hayward, uh, and I feel like the last spot between one of two guys. I'll let you guys have your pick. Do we want to put Humphreys or Vinny Ray there?
Oh, I was putting Vinny Ray at my 4, so yeah, Vinny's going in for me
Well, then
over
I guess it's
Ben.
going to be Humphreys, as Noah once said, CTE certified.
Yeah, straight cokehead.
Uh, that game against, what was it, Miami?
Hmm.
The rainy game against Miami?
He knew he was getting some of that straight powder after that game, man.
Yeah, and before.
He laid his
Yeah.
life on the line for that shit.
Is there a more iconic moment? I keep thinking about this thing. Kelby Brown's like this at the UNC game. He does that, and then does the whole like. Is there a more iconic like Duke celebration?
It summed up what was so special about the 2010s Duke football teams.
The littlest things mattered so much. Dude, like Kenny Ananicky hit the money Manziel after he sacked Johnny Manziel when we were up 28-3, man. Like, holy shit, we had so much aura
It was so special
until it
until it
wasn't.
wasn't.
I miss it, and it's just Jamison Crowder absolutely crackbacking that one DB for A&M on that touchdown.
I just peeled that fucker.
The best block I've ever seen. I just straight launched and just murdered him. But yeah,
We gotta
guys.
wrap this up before I start crying, man.
Yeah, before we all get in our
This has been a very throwback sentimental scum episode.
Yeah. Next week, I think we'll figure out recording due to like the media days and stuff. But one day next week, we'll get out another pod. We'll do wide receivers and secondary next week, and then that'll leave us with just tight end or running backs and quarterback and special teams for the last one. So next week we'll break down the wide receiver room, which will be a very interesting topic. Because there's
What's there
a
to
lot
talk about?
Exactly.
Not much
And-
going on.
And then the exact opposite, the secondary, I think is going to be the best thing about Duke this year.
Electric.
I think we have a nationally elite secondary, not just
Oh.
ACC level. I think nationally elite secondary.
They're the best.
Terry
in the
Moore,
ACC.
Caleb Weaver, Chandler Rivers.
Chandler Wilson. Audrey
Shout out
Wilson.
Audrey.
Oh,
Audrey's
my
on the
God.
other side of the field.
Shout out City Trends.
City
Yeah, I
Trends
almost said
NIL.
Chandler Simpson, like the Rays player, and I almost said Chandler Wilson, our Chandler, and then I meant to say Chandler Rivers. Oops, I've had too many Bud Lights.
Well, Chandler will never
legendary.
hear this anyway. So.
Yeah, Chandler doesn't love us anymore.
God, never even clicks on the link, man.
This was a good episode. It got a little bit off track, but that's what makes us scummy.
Yeah. Like Noah said earlier, thank everybody for all the support and stuff. Make sure you're following us on we're on TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, X. And there's no telling what we may be uploading or dropping for media days.
We're
Next
gonna be
week.
vlogging that shit.
Yeah, there's no telling what
Spaces.
all is going to come out from that. Hopefully I can find Zach Roper because he's at state now. Or no, Kurt, I believe is the one that's at state now.
God,
Um,
whichever.
I just want to have a sit down with him and ask him what's it like being brain dead.
Why did you ruin Duke football?
Yeah, how does it feel knowing you killed an entire program for 4 years?
Yeah, keep a lookout on our YouTube channel for ACC Media Day Gone Sexual. Just keep a lookout for that one.
It's
Oh,
just us
God.
in the Stanford tree.
They're gonna they're gonna send us an email and take away our passes.
Revoke our passes.
We love Jim Phillips, by the way.
Yeah, shout out Jim, man.
Yeah, Jim, please
Hashtag
don't
Jim
take
made
it
the
from
call.
us.
ACC believers, man. That's us. We appreciate you giving us the opportunity to believe.
All right,
Hashtag
fellas.
accomplished greatness.
This is a good one.
A lot of shit. Not necessarily a lot, but some shit to edit for sure.
We'll see.
A few things here and there.
All right. Scums, we'll see you next week. Be good.